As for the silence, I once watched a young man collapse during one of their breathing circles. No one rushed to him. The others just kept breathing with their eyes closed while he died at their feet. Afterward, they shifted the circle a little farther away and continued. Not long after that came disgracefulness. They lived in a half-collapsed skyscraper and treated it like a mountain tribe would treat a cliffside fortress. The higher you lived, the more powerful you were. Your rank depended on what you brought back from scavenging trips. More salvage, a better place to sleep, cleaner air, less danger, more food. They
I
said
don't
you
believe Donald
rank
Trump, but I also think as an Israeli,
home.
you should pause before using the
I
phrase
visited
terror
Greece
regime.
and
We
remembered
live
the
in a
smell
country
of
that just brought
smoke,
us thousands of children
rust,
in Gaza.
sweat,
We don't pull back a little
odor of
bit
smoke.
on the rhetoric.
A man with a 9 marked on his forearm introduced me to his son, who had no marks. The father said the boy would start climbing at 6 years old. If he did not earn a place by bringing back useful things, he would not survive. He said it without emotion, like he was explaining the weather. The boy just stared at me with blank eyes, already understanding more than any child should. until someone looks at me strangely. My hands shake more than they used to. Some mornings I wake up and need a full minute to remember what direction we are walking in. We are still headed east, because the radio said east once, because someone heard there was a place with cleaner water once, because if you stop, then you have to admit there is nowhere to get to. That might be the truest thing of all. We are not really walking towards something. We are walking because standing still feels too much like surrender. The sky keeps shedding dust. Days keep dragging. And what remains of us keeps going. Not because we still believe, but because the body does not always understand when hope is dead. That is what this world taught me. Not that people become monsters. That would be easy. It taught me that people stay just long enough to explain every awful thing they do, and then they keep walking. Stories fix. I had been in love with him ever since we first met. Maybe love is not the right word. Back then, it felt more like rivalry, obsession, the kind of feeling that lives somewhere between hate and fascination. I hated him, but I loved him. I loved wanting to meet him. I loved that he was always there, always just out of reach, always better. I had been on the ice for as long as I could remember. My mother had been a world-class skater, an Olympian, the kind of woman people recognize in magazines and sports interviews. Naturally, everyone around her assumed I would follow the same path, or maybe not ever. Her manager definitely did. My mother did not. She fought it from the beginning, though not in a way people understood. She did not openly forbid it. Instead, she kept making excuses. She's too young. I don't want her falling. She's going to break a bone. But our manager would just laugh, brush my hair back, and tell my mother to let me try. I was 7. At that age, I was not dreaming about gold medals or applause or elegant routines under bright lights. I mostly wanted to stay warm and watch cartoons on my iPad. I did not like the cold. My mother's hands were always freezing, and her breath felt icy against my cheek whenever she kissed me goodnight. Still, after enough pressure from her manager, my mother finally introduced me to skating. She started gently. She held both my hands and moved beside me on the ice, steadying me every time I wobbled. And I did wobble. I stumbled, slipped, and fell hard over and over again. At first, I hated it. The ice was hard, the rink smelled strange, and every fall felt embarrassing. But the more I fell, the less it hurt. Little by little, I got used to it. My mother would loosen her hold for a second, then another. Soon I was letting go, brief stretches, balancing on my own. That was when I started to love it. There was something about the way we